Welcome to the Sweet and Sassy Show podcast. This is episode 30 being aired on May 8th. These come out the second Friday of every month. Jen Carpenter, Secure and Savvy Solutions. What I'm calling my ease experience is my Mindflow Mastery one-to-one coaching and my ease weekly group and online community. Just kind of named my signature offer recently. But anyways, I do a bunch of different things with Secure and Savvy Solutions. One of those is this wonderful event here. Molly and I have been doing for quite some time. My good friend here, Molly Lowe, new and exciting things in our world that we'll be sharing today. I don't have a title for the episode yet, but we're going to talk about experiences and navigating the highs and lows. So introduce yourself a little bit more, please, today, Molly Lowe.
Yes, hello everyone. It's so good to be here with you again and sharing the space with you, of course. And I couldn't do it without Jen, obviously. And so Molly Lowe, LinkedIn business coach and top 1% social seller on LinkedIn. I know how to make money on LinkedIn. That's what I know how to do. Point
Love
blank,
it.
get done. There we go.
Yes, and if you're finding this through LinkedIn, please keep checking out our episodes, support our posts, leave comments there besides YouTube as well as where we are sharing this podcast. So I was just sharing with Molly, if we look back, like back in October 2025, coming into the new year, making changes, everybody's shifting, growing, evolving, expanding, elevating, as I say. And all of it really that comes with that. So that's kind of what we wanted to talk about today. Experiencing new things, could be very exciting. And then sometimes things don't go exactly the way you expect them to as well. So navigating that. But then the other piece of it is just like being okay with doing different things, like letting go of things that you're not gonna, the more I let go of things, the more I'm like, oh boy, I just want to let go of that and that and that and that too. And so like, you almost feel like you're being lazy about things, but you're like, no, no, it's okay. I just only want to do these three things and that's okay. So I don't know. We'll get into more specifics, but that's kind of where we wanted to flow today with this conversation. Where are you at, Molly?
Yeah, I think sometimes when we think about, especially in entrepreneurship, I think the lows are really low,
Uh-huh.
right? And then the highs are really, really
That's
high,
why I'm
right?
bringing it up. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. And I was saying this to one of my business partners, and I said, I am honestly so grateful that after a little over 8 years now, I finally feel, knock on wood, right? Like, knock on wood. I feel like I have some consistency and predictability in my business, in my schedule. And when as a first gen entrepreneur, I thought that everything was always going to just be fly by the seat of my pants. And it was just kind of navigate through what it is like, oh, okay, well, today's going to be a rough day. All right, we're going to deal with that. Or today's going to be awesome. I hit my, revenue goals or what have you. And I am finally at that place of just this neutrality. And dare I even say, I think I said to him, I said, I am at a plateau in my business where I know exactly what I need to be doing. I know exactly what day is going to be doing what. I know the partnerships I'm in. I like the partnerships that I'm in. Like I right this podcast here is now a part of my constant, my consistent, my predictable. And I am so grateful for that, right? But let me just say that when the lows are really low, it makes it challenging for me, at least, to really think about, wow, is it ever going to be the light side of this? And speaking of my business partner, he and I just had a touch base, and he had just talked about how he's just going too fast and he needs to pump the brakes and he needs to just realign and just tune in to what it is that he wants to build in order for me to come in and really help him co-create something that's valuable and impactful. And I think sometimes we can see setback and realignment as like, okay, we had this grand vision and it didn't quite land the way we wanted. Um, and I think a lot of that is, you know, that reframe of it's not happening to me, it's happening for me. And one thing that I do a lot when even when the highs are really high is I sit and I don't like to say good or bad, pros or cons. I like to say light and dark, right? So I like to say, what's the light side of this? What's the dark side of this? What is this showing me? What is this teaching me? What can I reflect on and gather from this? And not making the narrative, especially if it's a low low, to mean anything more than just the current moment in time. This is what, yeah, we do hard stuff all of the time, and it doesn't change the reality of it being hard. But I think a lot of this is we get to choose the narrative, and we get to choose the amount of time that we want to cling on to that narrative, that isn't going to be very helpful for us, right? So yeah, I think when I think about change, when I think about the highs, when I think about the lows, my mind goes directly to the low lows and the high highs. And it's so interesting because now I'm not quite there. I'm at this plateau. I'm in this middle, and
Yes.
I never noticed how beautiful it is, right? But yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I really appreciate you putting it in the light of what you said. You can decide, is today going to be a rough day or is it going to be a great day? So clearly, like, just highlight, Molly's 8 years in to where she is in this alignment right now. You might be 2 years in, 3 years in, 4 years in. It's different. Wouldn't it be lovely to get to this sort of alignment and space sooner than later as well, might I add? Versus taking 8 years to get there, right? Not that, and that's okay too, that it took 8 years to get here. So, like, patience with the process, I guess, is what I'm getting at. But the neutrality, I really like, so even when things come up in our world, you talk about the contrast. I say the beauty and the pain, the light and the dark. You can't have one without the other. But like, I'm just gonna share like my biggest lesson learned to get really to the point. There's been multiple business experiences, relationship experiences. Two things about it. Number one, say it's a business thing or a personal thing. We say this in general with your emotions, right? Everything's just experiences. Everything is energy and experiences. If something's going to happen, it's okay to get a little excited about it, or you think it's going to happen, but you can't get too excited about it, to be honest. So some people are like, well, isn't that just being like disconnected and not having emotions? No, you're still having the emotions. You just don't want to let them get too high and too energetic, because this is the lesson learned. I'm going straight to it. The low is very low. If you get too excited about something and it doesn't work out the way you expected it to, or whatever, then the low from that can become very low. Because even today, as we're recording, it says April 14th, don't quit. But when you're in this space of, if you go too low, you're going to be like, oh boy, this isn't working, or I'm going to quit, whatever that is. And you don't want to go down that road. And here's the second part of it. Is it worth the cost of getting too high to come back down low? So, like, if you did this experience, right? Like, I had an experience meeting a new person, and it's like, is it worth it to deal with the cost of maybe the the BS that comes later in today's world of meeting people? Just as an example, is it worth the cost? Is getting super high about something, really excited about something, or taking a specific action, um, is it worth what might possibly happen, or maybe the BS, or you have to deal with it from that decision, I guess is the best way to put it. Um, so yeah, looking at those things, the costs and the benefits of, will I take this action again in the future? Do I want to feel this way again in the future? That's really why I put it in such a direct thing, because huge lesson learned. I don't want to feel that way again in the future. If I get too high, I don't want to get too low and feel like I'm going to want to quit, no
Mhm.
matter what it is. You could apply that to like whatever you're experiencing. And is it worth it? Is it worth the ride? Is it worth the ride? Yeah, you can go all in on something, but don't count it in 100% until you know it's 100% and it's actually happening in the present moment, then get super excited about it and celebrate your win.
100%. And to your point, I think too, when we talk about neutrality, right? And I think it just seems so, it seems so boring. I feel like that might be the best way
Yes.
to explain it, right?
Yes.
But to your point, I literally just said this to my one of my clients. She just closed her very first high ticket sale and she was so excited about it. And she's just said, yeah, in prepping for this, I just kind of went in with no expectation, right? And I think that that's really the key of
Oh, yeah.
positive intention while letting go of any specific expectation
Oh,
or,
yeah.
result, right? Like, oh, if it's gonna be like this, it's gonna be like this. Because, yeah, that goes for the good and the not so good, like you mentioned, right? And so that was just a really good reminder that, yep, I just said that today, positive intention while letting go of any specific expectation or result. And that's truly how we navigate through things in more flow, more ease, more alignment without resistance or again that negative narrative that we tend to
Yes.
tie to said scenario or said person, right? So, yeah.
Yes. Yes. And there's two things that come to mind. Same thing with me in business. I got excited about the way that it was going because it was different than a normal way that things went to have somebody on my calendar, for example. Thought it was going to go another way. It didn't happen. And I'm like, okay, I don't care. But then at the same time, you're like, should I not? Is there something wrong with not caring? You question at the same time. You question at the same time, is there something wrong with this? Is there something, shouldn't I care about this? No, it's not just because it's easier, it's better and easier to not care and not be attached to the outcome because you don't have, space for those unnecessary feelings and emotions about it. That's what, it's heavy and it's exhausting to constantly go up and down. Like to be realistic, it's easier and more productive to stay in the middle versus get too high and too low. It's exhausting. So it's like, okay, this particular situation didn't work out well. What am I going to do differently in the future? What did I learn from that? Somebody says they're going to do something, maybe they don't. That's okay. Not in my control. Only look at what I can do differently to help that scenario again in the future. I want to talk about the spontaneity and predictability, and that goes with it too. So, like, for example, it's like, okay, Jen wants to go do this and have fun. Is there something wrong with that? No. Should I be working? No, I still have plenty of time to do my work. Questioning it. And so, like, we're so used to having, okay, this is my intention and my direction. But within that, you can still have spontaneity. Like we're so used to being constantly prepared and predictable structure systems processes that spontaneity and flexibility in your choices can feel uncomfortable too. It's like, okay, no matter what it is, I have this standard, I have this expectation for myself as an example. But in the moment, you can actually decide if you want to sway from that a little bit. And that's okay. Because I always say I'm a Sagittarius. I love adventure, freedom, flexibility. I have worked on a structured schedule for 20 years straight. I've had to learn how to create flexibility and flow in my everyday life in all of the roles that I have as a woman, as a mother, as me, as a business person, all together. Um, so yeah, it seems uncomfortable, and then you start to question yourself, like, is this okay? According to who?
Hmm.
I went through these whole conversations in my head this past weekend. That's why I'm sharing these things. According to whose standards, according to whose beliefs, whose values, whose perspectives, do they really matter? Is it you? So when you start to think about it, sometimes you're making your decisions based off of other people's opinions. You're making decisions off of what other people would think about what you're doing, what you're saying, what you're thinking. And it's okay when you really just come back to you and be like, is this truly aligned with me? Yeah, I had this particular boundary, but in this moment, it's actually okay to flex it a little bit, like whatever it is. This is what I would normally do. So that goes back to the renewing self-trust and faith in yourself to believe that, well, this is how I've done it before. These are my standards. I'm going to weigh my options. What are the costs and benefits of this? And then, like, who am I really hurting? And then, too, after the experience, still again reflecting back, am I hurting myself? Well, this went this way. Do I want to go through that again? So I'm not saying like this whole thing is specific to like personal dating relationships, but whatever the relationship is, or business relationship, personal, doesn't matter. I went through this experience. This is what happened. In the future, do I want to go through that experience again the same way?
Mhm.
And that's okay. Like I said, according to who?
I love that. And you know what's so crazy when you said spontaneity, you know where my brain went to? I used to hate surprises.
Yeah.
Reason why was because I'm super type A.
Uh-huh.
I was a control freak. Still
Uh-huh.
am. In all honesty, still am, right? It's still working through
To
it.
some degree, yeah.
Yeah. But oh my gosh, my husband got to a point where he couldn't even plan a like a fun little date night because I'd like cuss him out. I'm like, I hate surprises. Why would you not? Blah, blah, blah. And it was all because I wanted that sense of control over what it was that I was doing, how I was feeling, all of the things, the outcomes, the everything. So when you said spontaneity, I'm like, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's crazy how much now I lean into that. When,
Yes. That's
you
why
know,
I'm talking about this. Yes.
yeah. And I've gotten to a point where it's like, I'll wake up for my day, I'll take a look at my calendar. I'm like, okay, it's fairly like tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be more of an admin day. I don't have very many calls. Like, what do I want to do? I don't know. Maybe I'll just wake up and I'll just decide then. Former
Yes.
Molly would never, ever do that.
Yeah.
She would never
Yes,
be okay
yes,
with that.
yes.
And there would be a huge sense of guilt around that as
Yes.
well.
Yes, that's
you
so
know
true.
so
Yes.
full circle to your point, like, to whose standard, like, do you know what? It's crazy what we can submit ourselves to, feeling, thinking, believing, behaving, and no one's even said anything. Like, no one even said, oh, you can't, like, it's so crazy. But that's where my brain went when you said spontaneity, and I'm like, yeah, that's, yeah, didn't really like
Yeah,
that
I mean,
for a
we
long
could
time.
go on forever about like how valuable it is to let go of control, like in the aspect of so many different so many different avenues. The outcome of whatever the situation is, the expectation of what is supposed to be in this moment, in this time now. Um, uh Controlling other people, being we cannot control other people. We can't change the past. You can't control the weather. um Looking at like how much energy and attention again you can gain back if you don't know what's going to happen with the result if you open up and allow and receive and make that happen. So this goes to what you were saying before. A setback is not realignment is okay. It's not a setback. It's not a bad thing. We tend to initially perceive it as that, or even in the first place because it's scary to do things differently in the very first place. And then when you do it, it feels uncomfortable and you question, is this right or not? Or, yeah, am I being boring because I'm just staying in the middle here or whatever? But someone in my network says quite often, go slower to go faster.
Hmm.
Um, It's interesting. I'll just share this very briefly. I keep, I have some days of the week, 2 days of the week where I've LinkedIn posts scheduled. And then I've gotten so into the habit of posting across all the platforms on a daily basis. I keep double posting Monday and Tuesday because I forget that I have these other posts already scheduled. Point of that is, for one, it's really good, the consistency that I'm getting into the habit and it's just naturally occurring. So, like when you make more space in your schedule and in your world, it feels uncomfortable. You're not used to it. I say, Molly had 20 years in corporate, 18 years for me. I'm 2.5 years out of corporate. I'm still on the regular, realigning with how much time I spent in corporate and where I'm at now to get used to not thinking I have to have something to do every 2 seconds. So I'm over here doing stuff I don't even need to be doing. Like celebrate the win that I'm posting every day and it's just a habit and it's there and I just click the buttons and it happens. That's great. But I'm still having a strong tendency to do the old patterns, I guess is what I'm getting at. The old patterns, the old version of me. And it takes time, even though I've been consistent. I've learned the lessons. I know it all. Like to be patient with yourself. Um, Along the way that like yeah you don't have to be doing something 24/7. That space that you've created is a beautiful thing as long as you're focusing on these are the four things I do on a daily basis. These are the places I show up. I'm talking to potential clients. I'm working with clients and spending time on your content and putting your value out there, however that is, social media, newsletters, whatever it is. You're doing the work. The work is always working. You're doing it. um Sit and do nothing in the space you've created. Do something more that you love in the space you've created. Do something new. Do something you've never done before in the space you've created, whatever that is. Point being is that it takes time to get used to the flow and the flexibility that you're creating in your world. And there's lots of highs and lows and ups and downs that come with it, I guess. That's what it is. In the space that is there, that's actually part of what it is. Because I've just in real time here, I've been, making so much space that I have found I'll want to go back to self-sabotaging behaviors at times because it's like, yeah, fear of success. You're growing, you're getting bigger. Can I handle this capacity of what I'm doing right now? But then you have even more stronger tendencies to fall back to the old beliefs, the old habits, self-sabotaging behaviors and patterns in the space you've created as well. I'm just being totally upfront about that because it just came to me now. So, what else would you like to add?
No, I think that that is a wonderful way to close us out because you're absolutely right. I think it's increasing that awareness around those behaviors that you try to undo,
Oh, yeah.
right? And our logical brain is saying, be successful, make a lot of money, be big, be known. And our subconscious mind is like, well, I don't know, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
being able to increase that level of self-awareness to say, oh, yep, there's that little thought that made me think this, right?
Oh, yeah.
For that. So yeah, no,
Yeah.
I love that. That's a really great way to tie us out, Jen.
Yeah. So basically, it's okay to be boring. There's going to be highs and lows. Predictability is great. Spontaneity even more important. Um, and just know as you're going through these realignment, the setbacks, they're not, bad things. They're all lessons learned. And that's what it's all about. It's all part of renewing the self-trust and renewing faith, like we've been talking about in the last episode as well. So, yeah, this is episode number 30. Not exactly sure what the title is, but either way, everything is energy and experiences. That's what I've been talking about lately anyway, so maybe that's what it'll be. Yeah, second Friday of every month. This one's for May 8th. Anything else, Molly?
No, thank you for being here.
Please share a comment below of one thing that stood out for you. Even though, we're talking, we want you to get actionable things out of these episodes. So leave a comment of what stood out for you, and maybe even something like, a lesson learned from what you can actually take away from this today. So join us for the next episode. Thank you for being here today.